My name is Allie Tharp. I'm the program director for the Unitarian Universalist Ministry for Earth, and I got into the climate justice movement in 2012 after just graduating from college. I'm 29 years old, and a UU who's now a board member for Ministry for Earth, his name is Benjamin Franklin Kraft Rendon. Benjamin locked himself to a feller buncher tree cutter machine in East Texas to blockade the Keystone XL pipeline. And when Ben did this, the police and sheriffs in East Texas responded very brutally, and they brutalized him and the other person that Ben was locked down with. And it just made my blood boil to hear Ben's story. I didn't know Ben at the time. And so I looked up, okay, who's this group, Tar Sands Blockade, and what are they doing in East Texas, and how can I help them? And I joined the Tar Sands Blockade to blockade the Keystone XL southern leg of the pipeline, which President Obama approved in 2012. And that's how I got involved. And so really it was like, I majored in environmental studies, but I jumped right into the deep end of organizing in relationship with the communities in Houston, where that pipeline went, and also really learned more. It felt like I was acting in Texas, you know, with those communities along the pipeline route, those at the end of the pipeline, and those in Alberta, and the Beaver Lake Cree, the First Nations there, who are being poisoned by the most dirty energy sources we talked about at the beginning of the day. So that's how I got started in the climate justice movement. And then I joined UU Ministry for Earth as the coordinator for the UU Young Adults for Climate Justice Network 5 years ago in 2014. And so this was right about the time, you know, I'm really amazed that like September is a really intense month ever since I've been paying attention for the climate movement. There's always really intense things that happen from, you know, on both sides of the spectrum, where we have major mobilizations like the People's Climate March in New York City. And then we also have major brutality against protesters at Oshedi-Shikoan. So it's exciting to be here in September. And this is when I joined the Young Adults Network and the Ministry for Earth. And it's really been a life-changing, beautiful thing. I'm so proud to be working with all of you. So this was a gathering we had in Chicago in 2015. And right about the same time that I joined, that's the logo for Ministry for Earth in the middle, the Young Adults Network with the two hands and the roots, the chalice on the left side. And then the Commit to Respond campaign was launched around the same time. And so this was really, as far as I know, the first UU broad, denomination-wide effort to come together for climate justice. And I started out as representing our Young Adults Network on the steering council, and then in 2016, in April of 2016, I became the program coordinator and manager for the Commit to Respond campaign. So this lasted until General Assembly in New Orleans in 2017. And Commit to Respond did a lot of good things, but it also had some limitations, and it ran out of funding. And really at that point, we looked at how it worked and how it didn't work. And one of the things that has arisen from that major effort of the Commit to Respond campaign is our new initiative, Create Climate Justice. And so I usually share the fact that, you know, I am a part-time staff person, and we have a part-time UUA staff person, and the two of us generally manage a lot of the work for 1,000 UU congregations, half of which have climate teams or green sanctuaries, and it was a communications bottleneck because there's incredibly brilliant UUs doing incredibly important work all around the country, and you had two part-time people trying to build the connections between you all, and it was impossible. And so what we started with as a new foundation for the Create Climate Justice initiative was the web platform to make it possible, what I phrased it as democratizing communication in our UU network of people doing this work. So if you go to createclimatejustice.net, you can filter it by geography, you can filter it by interest area, and you can directly communicate with 850 and counting UUs who are committed to do this work. So that's where we started as a new foundation. And from there, we've looked at, here's where we're really trying to strengthen our communications and our mutual support networks for climate justice. We started with the web platform, and we've gone more recently this year into having a newsletter that the UUA manages, that everyone who joins the platform will get the newsletter. And we're pulling in all UU climate active organizations can submit things to be put out to that big list. And then we're having roundtable dialogue at the state, the regional, the denomination-wide, and campaign-based levels. And we're still at the early stages of making this possible. And what I really want to emphasize is, again, that you can't rely on part-time staff people to mobilize all the UUs who need to be mobilized. We need people at every single level working together to create climate justice. That's our purpose and my call to you right now, is for us to work together to make this possible. So I'm going to show you a couple diagrams to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about with this third one. So, and this arises from work by the UN office, our UU, United Nations office, the Climate Action Team program that Dr. Jan Dash, based in New Jersey, had a lot to do with inspiring the UN to address climate and create climate teams in our congregations. So there were monthly calls to support that. Here's just a photo of what it looked like on createclimatejustice.net last night. You can see, oh wow, we have a conference happening right now, and a lot of resources out there for you through this platform. And we'll be giving more tours and helping you to get oriented with how to use it. It's a very powerful tool. So here's the diagram I'm talking about. Denomination-wide, we've got Ministry for Earth, the UUA, the UUSC, which we have a representative here. Josh, you want to wave? Josh is here from UUSC, and the UUA and UUSC co-support our College for Social Justice. And then we have these regions of the UUA, and we've prioritized two really issue focus areas, ways that we're moving. One is what we're here doing, the just transition to an ecological civilization, and also Indigenous frontline solidarity. And also, let's talk about all the many ways over the years. Like, this needs to be something that it's not going to go away. We're going to have to keep working at this probably my entire lifetime. And so, there's no campaign term limit to this initiative. We're just going to do it, okay? So here's at the denomination-wide level my vision for how we will come together and record these calls and put them out to UUs, to have representatives from all of these different groups speak about what's moving, what's happening, and how people can plug in on a regular basis, at least 4 times a year. So I wanted to circle in on where we are. This is our Central East region of the UUA. And for that regional call, we have affinity groups at the regional level. There's a lot moving at the Central East region. And I'm calling on each and every state and each and every congregation that has a climate team or a green sanctuary team or an earth justice team to have someone connect with the other congregational leaders in your state, again, at least 4 times a year, at least quarterly, check in with each other, support each other, share resources, talk about what your governor's doing and what's in the legislature at your state level. And then again, pick a different month, but at least 4 times a year, come together at the regional level and support one another there, okay? So we're going to start out staggering these calls. August was our first state-level roundtable, and then September we had our first attempt at a regional roundtable. We had 3 people on the whole East Coast on that call, which is partly, I think we can do better, so let's make the next one bigger. And then October, we're shooting for our first denomination-wide call. And again, we're just moving as best as we can with what we have, and we're gonna have to keep doing that until we have a really strong, networked, powerful faith movement that's plugged in accountable relationship to our broader climate justice movement. So those are our 3 goals for strengthening our UU communications and mutual support networks. Abigail is going to pass out So you each have a brochure for Ministry for Earth, and in the middle fold of that, you'll see more information about Create Climate Justice. And you'll also see a form that you can fill out to join, okay? And so it asks you, what level are you most passionate about mobilizing for? Because again, we're trying to build a really dynamic network of UUs who are moving on this. And the other two ways that I lifted up here, I'll just speak briefly about, are mobilizing our UU faith community in solidarity with Indigenous frontline communities. So some of the ways that we've been doing that, Kate, can I have that other mic? Would you mind? We've been doing water protector prisoner support. So we've been working in direct relationship with the Water Protector Legal Collective and supporting 5 Indigenous water protectors who have been incarcerated for what happened at the Standing Rock mobilization against Dakota Access Pipeline. And so there's some buttons over here to free Dion, free Little Feather, free Red Fawn, and we've been supporting them through the prison system and as they're getting back out to come back to their families and their lives and their communities. Secondly, we have a partnership based in the Lakotas with a group called the International Initiative for Transformative Collaboration. And a few of us in the room were there, Jane with the UUs for Justice and Just Economic Community and I, and Michael Lennon, who's a member here at All Souls. All 3 of us went out to this gathering that we just had last month. And that's, again, building really close, direct relationship and partnership with folks who are in the front lines of this issue. As Julian mentioned, there's a Promise to Protect initiative that the UU Association has signed on to. As a faith community, we are officially saying that if Keystone XL gets built, we are willing to put our bodies on the line, regardless of a riot-boosting law, to stand in solidarity and to stop that pipeline from being built. So, you know, whether you can support others in your community to go or go yourself, just anticipate that that could go live. This could happen at any moment. And then also other local partnerships or national partnerships. UUSC does really incredible work around the world with Indigenous communities in the South Pacific and in Alaska. Also, to name a few, we've got the Lummi Nation, which the UUs in the Pacific Western region are really strongly partnered with. And then General Assembly 2019, I wanted to lift up because that's one of our primary focuses is it's going to be in Providence, right next to Plymouth, where they will be celebrating with a lobster dinner the landing of the Plymouth colony around the same exact time that we will be at General Assembly. 2020, thank you. You know, thank you. So next June, one of the main themes of General Assembly will be looking at what is the colonial history of this country and UUs within that broader history, and what is our call in this moment in 2020? How will we be in relationship with the original peoples of Turtle Island? So that's really important for climate justice and for just how we live as human beings on this planet. So I wanted to lift that up too. And then really I wanted to say catalyzing the just transition towards an ecological civilization is our other really primary focus for the moment with the Create Climate Justice initiative. And that's part of why I'm here at this conference, and it's really an opportunity and an invitation to you all. How will we move together to catalyze a just transition from an extractive economy to a regenerative economy to an ecological civilization? That's our challenge. We'll be spending the next 2 days really digging into this and doing some of that work together. And there's a lot of opportunity. So I didn't want to go into all the ways that we're working on this. You all are working on it here in this room. We're doing that together right now. And this is an invitation and a call to you to really question how we're going to do that.